We are officially to this stage of the floor process. Last night when we finished sanding, I wiped down all the walls. Courtney vacuumed every square inch of this house, and then we wiped down the floors. Today, we're here to stain. We picked weathered oak, and it's a really light colored stain, but I'm interested to see how much it changes the floor. Now the goal today is to have it 100% stained before we leave, because tomorrow we're adding the finish, and then we just have to wait until it dries and we can move in. Now we did most of this sanding last weekend when we rented the sander, but we spent every night this week sanding down the stairs and the corners and the problem areas and trying to get it as best as possible. So needless to say, we cannot wait to have this project wrapped up. Here is the main bedroom, sanded and cleaned up. Small. Now you'll notice that the floor still has a lot of its character. We're embracing all of the imperfections, knowing that it's 100 years old. We sanded it so that it would look new and vibrant, but we don't want to lose all the history of the house. These floors are one of the reasons we love it so much. So hopefully by the end of the weekend, we have stained it and sealed it so that it lasts another 100 years. Just to make it more fun, we picked weathered oak, which they do not make in gallons, so we get to use quarts. Getting the final things in place, we're both a little nervous to get started, but I think once we do, it's gonna go really fast and it should be really smooth. Hopefully. The best part about stain is that it's very forgiving. Only so much will soak into the wood, and we only wanted to do one coat. So we added that coat and then came back 15 minutes later to wipe off any excess. The top floor is done. I just have to wait 15 minutes before I wipe down this small room and the last bit of the hallway. We're gonna take a break and then start on the stairs, which I think we have to do by hand. So far, this is what it looks like. This all took us just under 2 hours, which is great because sanding took so long, but also we have an entire floor left to do. that is the last thing for tonight. Tomorrow we will be back to add the finish. Day 2 of putting the finish on the floor. I think this is our favorite room. Walking through the house, the stain is darker than we expected, but it turned out really well. I think the reason the color looks so dark is because the floor was kind of this color to start, but when we sanded it down, it was very light. Now it's dark again, so it's hard to keep track. We were worried that picking the stain that we did would cause it to be too gray, and there's only 1 or 2 spots where it really seems gray, like this one. We were worried that because of the stain we picked, it wouldn't really blend the floor as much as we wanted. There was a really dark spot right here. We were hoping that by sanding and refinishing it, it would kind of blend this spot together better. And I think that really worked. This space is just a high traffic area. So to bring it together and have the finish be consistent is gonna make a huge difference. Hopefully today, by adding the satin finish, it'll kind of bring everything together and there'll be an even shine on the floor. But I'm just procrastinating and we need to actually finish this up. Today, to put the stain on, we're gonna be using this T-bar and this roller cover. We saw someone use this on a YouTube video. Looked like it worked really well, so it should keep a really thin layer of poly and let us get close to the edges. We just picked this up on Amazon, so I'll put a link in the description if you're doing this project too. Perfect. The thing is, as you stir, you're trying not to add bubbles because that'll actually like stick around and could go into the floor and cause a lot of holes and problems. Stirring very slowly and very carefully. Courtney is finishing up stirring the polyurethane. We're getting ready to start. We have a paintbrush to get into corners or any spots that we can't get with the T-bar, but I think for the most part, the room will be easy to cover. The poly is really thin, so we have to keep it moving and keep it really thin. Courtney has read a lot of instructions and we both watched a lot of YouTube videos, so we're pretty much experts. I think we're just gonna try and work really fast to keep it thin, wait 6 hours, come back, do a second coat, and see how it goes. The polyurethane finish is much less forgiving. It's important to keep a really thin layer and make sure there's no puddles or bubbles along the way. Both of those will end up compromising the integrity of the finish. It's much better to do 2 layers, allowing the dry time in between instead of putting it on too thick. It's also really important to read the instructions on the can of polyurethane before you get started. Welcome back. We have the first layer of poly down on every single surface, and it's been drying for 6 hours. But you didn't get to see any of that because as we were putting poly on the bedroom, we kind of left you on the shelf and just let you go. So while you were literally watching the paint dry, we continued to work. We've let it sit. Now we're ready for the second coat. We picked the Satin Finish and it just looks so much nicer than the gloss right when we put it on, but this room certainly doesn't do it justice. Come look at the bedroom. It's easy to say that this is our favorite room. We just love the different colors of wood and really how it sanded out. Hopefully we put the second coat of poly on and everything will be perfect.
Upstairs is done.
Okay, the stairs are done. We are getting ready to do the final stretch, which is the first floor. Last time this went the fastest, so we're almost done.
This is needed, but horrible. We have reached the last little bit and we are almost out of floor finish, but we're going to stretch it and see what happens. It's just the dining room, the most important room in the whole house. It's okay. We're done. Yes, we did it. It lasted. We're done. Thank goodness. Okay.
Obviously, what do you do after you finish a big project like this? Celebrate.
I can't believe it's done. I can't.
Why?
So close to celebrating. In 8 days, we went from getting the keys to the house, sanding the floor, sanding every corner, step, everything, cleaning all of that up, staining the floors, and getting it sealed. I think tomorrow we're gonna stay home and pack, probably take a nap, and then we actually get to move in next weekend. Let me know in the comments if you've ever refinished wood floors, and especially if you would ever do it again, because I don't know that I would. We have a few more house projects lined up. We are gonna get started on those along with moving in. And then without a doubt, we will be on another trip again soon enough. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss anything. We'll see you next time. few times, but Courtney had to work and we've been packing. This is her first time seeing the floors in the daylight. Now we have to do the hard work and actually carry the things in. Cover it up. This is the room that's the best. Oh my goodness, it looks so good. It really looks good. It looks so, this room is turned out the best and has one of the biggest transformations, I think.
Yeah.